Your Y Country Medical Minute gives you opportunities to take down some notes, learn a little bit, and try to make yourself happier and healthier. And we do this with the Cassopolis Family Clinic Network. And as we mentioned them, we have to also mention Gina, who is joining us here today. Gina, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. This is a weird time of year because you never quite know what you're going to get. You could be getting snow, you could be getting rain, you could be getting sunshine. It's a weird mix. No matter what, you've got to be ready for everything. And that is why we are discussing today the incredibly smart survival kits for winter, right?
Absolutely, yes. And they're so important, especially living in the Midwest where the weather can change at any minute. Where a little winter survival kit in your vehicle is really a necessity. So, we're going to talk about some things that you can add to your winter survival kit, or if you don't have one, things to go buy to make one.
There you go. And you can do this, and it will be, again, you never know when you might need it. So we've heard of things like, road salt, sand, kitty litter for traction. My opinion, personally, get the salts because the salt's going to help melt the snow too. Not just give you traction, but be able to get that out of there. So my opinion on that, but either any of those will work very well. But what are some other things that you think we should include in these?
Oh, so the kitty litter and the salt, as you mentioned, are good. You also want to keep some extra clothing in your vehicle, an extra hat, a good pair of wool socks, a pair of mittens, and maybe an extra sweatshirt or jacket if you can. A blanket is always a great idea also to keep yourself warm. A lot of folks do also purchase in large packages those hand and foot warmers. Those are really good for you, especially if you do get stuck out on a country road and you're waiting for that AAA service or waiting on a relative to come and rescue you. Always a good idea. So that'll give you a little warm up as you need it. Another big one, and this is a little hard, but you got to get it in the winter, water. That is preferably not frozen.
Yes.
It's always a good idea to keep a bottle of water handy in your vehicle, not only to stay hydrated, but if you were to be stranded in your car for an extended period of time, it's always good to get hydrated if you were to help aid anyone in pushing out. So definitely a good idea.
Yeah,
Any
the
kind of,
water's I'll say
yes,
the water's a little bit tough, like you said, because it might freeze depending on the temperature. However, using that bottle of water, and then if you have the opportunity for your car to run and not have, any bad effects happen, putting it on the heater or whatever, or putting it under your arm underneath your jacket to try to melt that down, that's going to be a good way to thaw that out to be able to get that water.
Absolutely. You definitely want to stay hydrated. If you are going to be stranded for extended periods of time waiting on a tow truck, it's a good idea always.
Definitely. Now, there's more on this list too, and one of the things that I find interesting with this is the necessary medications. Sometimes we forget about things like that, right?
For sure. If anyone is diabetic, it's always a good idea to have a couple of bottles of insulin on hand in a cooler. Any kind of heartburn medication or anything that you're plagued with on a daily basis, it's always a good idea to have any kind of headache medication, especially when you are maybe going to be stranded for a while. You don't want to be sitting there even more miserable than you already are. So it's definitely a good idea to keep those medications on hand. Another big one, in addition to medications, is we don't want anyone getting hangry while they're waiting for that wonderful tow truck. So any kind of snacks. Now, snacks are good, but you want to also choose the right kind of snack. So you want to give yourself stuff that's going to keep your energy up, keep you awake. So energy bars, raisins, any kind of trail mix. That also usually has a little bit of a longer shelf life, so you can keep that in your car and it won't spoil. My personal indulgence, get a couple of mini candy bars to keep in there to keep your blood sugar up.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have
I
that.
tap into those every once in a while.
We have to restock. Make sure you keep fresh new things in there. I get
Yes,
it.
absolutely. You
Absolutely.
got to have variety.
Yeah, yeah. Now,
Yeah, good idea.
obviously, the food is a good option here. I do want to revisit the medications just for a second, too, because I know that there's a lot of recommendations not to leave medications in your car. So, as we say this, making sure that when you're leaving the house, you're bringing these with you each and every time, just in case, right?
Absolutely, yes. And do keep the expiration dates up with as well. It's easy to leave a bottle in your car and say, oh, well, it's just aspirin. It probably is fine, but definitely do keep those expiration dates handy and keep taking a look at those to make sure that everything is current.
Yeah. Now let's go through this the remaining part of the list here real quickly because obviously we know about the personal stuff for us, but let's talk about your car itself and things that you might need there.
For sure. So there's a couple of cool shovels that you can get off Amazon that are foldable shovels. We're not talking little garden shovels; those won't really do much here. But definitely invest in a good shovel to keep in your car to help dig out of any sticky situations. Everyone, I'm sure, has one of these, which is a windshield scraper. Always a good idea. I used mine just this morning.
There you go.
It gets you out of a lot of sticky situations. Booster cables, especially a good move there. If you were to need a jump, sometimes it's happened to me before. You go out to your car, you're ready to go for the day, and your car won't start. And that's not a fun time. So make sure that you are keeping those in your car as well.
Definitely. And of course, first aid kit, as we know, but with a pocket knife, that's good to keep in there. Having a flashlight, because you never know if you're going to be stranded for an extended period of time when that sun goes down. And as we talk about the flashlight, you want extra batteries. And then we transition from extra batteries to even a battery operated cell phone charger. In fact, I've got one right here. So there we go. I keep mine with me a lot.
Never prepared.
That's right. So with that, all of these are great items. Do we have this listed somewhere where we can get and maybe create our own little checklist? Is that up on the website?
Absolutely. It will be on our website as well as our Facebook and Twitter pages. You can check out cassfamilyclinic.org.
Awesome. Gina, I appreciate you sharing these all these great tips here with us. And we look forward to eventually not having to have the winter kits anymore because it'll be springtime, right?
Same. I'm here for it.
Awesome. We'll talk with you here next week, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. You bet. The Y Country Medical Minutes, and it is with the Cassopolis Family Clinic Network with Southwest Michigan's 97.5 Y Country.